Discover the incredible fight that transformed a black woman's life. You won't believe the outcome. Clara stood outside her tiny apartment on the south side of Atlanta, head reeling from another long day of work. Her hands trembled as she opened the mailbox, eyes scanning for hope amidst the mundane. Instead, she found a letter from the school board. Your children's school is slated for closure. That harsh reality clawed at her heart, a weight she never wanted to carry. She felt every word resonate deep in her chest. The laughter of her kids echoed in the hallways of that school, places where dreams took flight. With each passing second, her determined spirit began to crumble. At 32, Clara was a warrior, balancing life as a single mother with multiple jobs. She had her shifts at the diner, the plates clattering, coffee brewing, and the late-night cleaning gigs in those affluent suburbs, scrubbing floors while dreaming of brighter tomorrows. Those dreams were stitched, threadbare yet vibrant, into the fabric of her children's future. They deserved a fighting chance. Mom! Her daughter called out, breaking through her despair. Clara's heart swelled. She glanced at Zuri, her eldest, those eyes shimmering with innocence and ambition. Her son, Malik, stood close beside, a mischievous grin lighting up his face. Clara took a deep breath, smiling back, yet the burden loomed large. As she gathered resolve, Clara decided it was time to speak up. That night, she brought the news to other parents in her tight-knit neighborhood. We can't let them take away our kids' school, she proclaimed, voice steady but filled with urgency. Reluctance hung in the air like a thick fog. But we need to band together. Slowly, nods of agreement broke through silence. United in their struggles, hope flickered from heart to heart, igniting a fire in their desperate spirits. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But as weeks turned into months, late shifts strained her connections with Zuri and Malik. Dinner table conversations faded to quiet, and school events became mere items checked off a list. Clara felt the whispers a tightening in her chest. One evening, she received an unexpected call. Malik had missed curfew and was seen with kids she didn't want him near. Panic surged within her. In that moment, realization washed over her like a tidal wave. It wasn't just about fighting for a school, it was about being present, about being a mother. Clara stepped up and attended the next town hall meeting, surrounded by supporters, hearts pounding like drums. She stood tall, voice shaky, but unwavering. I fight for a safe place of learning, she implored. Not only for my kids but for all of our children. Her words flew across the room like a caress, wrapping around the hearts of those present. A tense silence enveloped the crowd, hope and fear intermingled in the air. Just when it felt like she was close to a breakthrough, a wealthy leader's voice cut through an attempt to dismiss her dreams. Clara felt her world quivering at the edge, a decision looming. Would she break through, reclaiming her family and their future, or would systemic forces snatch it away? The battle was becoming painfully tangible, but in that room, she felt the stirrings of something bigger. The fight had only just begun, for Clara and for every child deserving of a chance. Clara paced the worn wooden floor of her apartment, her heart racing as she replayed the meeting in her mind. The wealthy leader's dismissive tone echoed in her ears, but her resolve had hardened. She could feel the weight of her neighbors' hopeful gazes resting on her, urging her to keep fighting. Something deep inside her flickered, a spark ignited by fire, determination blooming where doubt had once settled. That night, as the aroma of fried plantains filled the small kitchen, Clara gathered Zuri and Malik. They sat at the table, plates steaming, but Clara's mind was elsewhere. I need you both to listen to me, she began, reaching across the table to take Malik's hand and Zuri's. Their eyes widened, sensing something important was coming. School is everything. It's a place where you can dream, where you can become anything you want. And I won't let anyone take that from you. Zuri's brow furrowed. But, Mom, they're going to close it. What can we do? Clara took a deep breath, fighting back tears. We fight. Together. You have to believe that your voices matter. I can't do this alone. They nodded, understanding the weight of her words, the quiet power pulsating in their little family. Empowered by a newfound sense of purpose, Clara whipped out her laptop. She started drafting a petition, fingers flying over the keys. Every signature counts, she murmured, her voice steady as her vision expanded beyond her neighborhood. The next day, she printed the petition and pasted flyers all over the community, drawing in other parents, teachers, and students. As days passed, the chatter in her neighborhood transformed angry, hopeful, and ferociously united. Parents shared stories about their own childhoods, the memories of teachers who nurtured aspirations and dreams. That next town hall meeting felt different. The room buzzed as Clara's neighbors flooded in, filling chairs with determination. When her turn finally came, Clara stood at the podium, the weight of her community behind her. Our children deserve better, she declared, her voice unwavering now. We are here to fight for our kids a safe school, a brighter future. A roar of approval erupted, the walls shaking with their cheers. But just as Clara found her groove, the wealthy leader stepped forward, arms crossed with an unreadable expression. These families could simply relocate its survival of the fittest, he posited, seeking to undermine the momentum. A chill swept over Clara. Survival of the fittest? It dug at her like nails scraping against glass. But in that moment, she realized this wasn't merely about education. It was about dignity. It was about fighting for the very existence of their rights, their community, and their future. Before she could launch another response, a small hand reached for hers. It was Zuri, her eyes filled with fierce determination. We won't give up, she stated loudly, breaking the silence. A wave of murmurs swept through the crowd, igniting a fire in Clara's soul. As the meeting progressed, voices mixed as they learned from one another, discussing alternatives, ideas, and strategies. Together they brainstormed. Clara felt a swell of pride, a relief washing over her. She wasn't just fighting for a school anymore, she was leading a movement. But as the meeting drew to a close, Clara couldn't shake the feeling of urgency gripping her heart. What if they faced more than just resistance? What if their fight went deeper than she could genuinely grasp? The path ahead was foggy, yet she couldn't allow fear to dictate her steps. The weight of her newfound role felt heavy, yet her heart raced with possibility. What if we can actually make our voice heard? She thought, a new mantra echoing within her. As she stepped into the cool night with her kids, a question hung in the air: how much was she willing to risk for their future? Clara took a deep breath, the sounds of the city surrounding them. Tomorrow would be another day in the fight. But she had no idea of the deeper, more dangerous battles that lay ahead, poised to challenge everything she believed in. In that moment, she grasped the truth: they were in a fight that might change their lives forever. The sun rose slowly the next morning, casting a golden hue through Clara's window. She had hardly slept, thoughts racing like wild horses. Zuri and Malik were still asleep, their peaceful faces a stark contrast to the storm brewing in Clara's heart. Quietly, she made her way to the kitchen and brewed a pot of coffee, its aroma filling the small space with a familiar warmth. This was a moment for gathering strength, another day in a fight that felt monumental. With each sip, she planned her strategy. Today was crucial. Clara decided that they needed more than just a petition. They needed to galvanize their community, to create an undeniable force. Children in the neighborhood deserved more than empty promises, they deserved action. After a quick breakfast, she roused Zuri and Malik. They entered the day together, a trio of determination. Today's the day we show up, Clara said, tying back her hair. We need to rally the neighborhood. They both nodded, feeling the gravity of her words. Clara gathered supplies, markers, poster boards, and the colorful flyers she had printed a week before. They planned to host a community gathering at the local park, transforming it into a beacon of hope. "Let us make posters together," Clara suggested, her excitement spilling into the air. Zuri and Malik rushed to help, each crafting slogans and images that captured the spirit of their cause. Laughter erupted as they shared ideas, but beneath the playful moments lay a current of seriousness, a shared understanding of what was at stake. Later that afternoon, they set up in the park, spreading the word as families arrived. Clara's heart raced as she looked at the crowd gathered before her. Familiar faces, some she hadn't seen in years, were all there, a testament to their shared struggles and hopes. The park buzzed with conversations and laughter, but it also buzzed with a determination Clara had never witnessed before. "Thank you all for coming," she began, standing on a bench to speak over the crowd. "This is our chance to take a stand. We won't just hope for change, we will create it." Applauses echoed back, and Clara felt the power of unity wrap around her like a warm blanket. As she spoke about their goals, their efforts were met with supportive cheers and nods of agreement. And just as hope surged, a shadow formed at the edge of the park. The wealthy leader had arrived, flanked by a few well-dressed supporters. Clara's pulse quickened. His aura was commanding, and as he approached, silence fell over the crowd. Another futile attempt at a protest. He called out, condescendingly. "You should face facts. Change doesn't happen through noise." Clara took a step forward, heart pounding yet steady. "Our noise is our strength," she responded, her voice echoing with boldness. "We demand better because our children deserve better. We won't vanish quietly, we will make waves." The crowd erupted again, but Clara could see the cracks beginning to form around her. Some glanced nervously at the leader, uncertainty creeping in. Was this really going to create the change they needed? Could they truly stand against someone so powerful? Clara's resolve strengthened further. She couldn't let doubt sink in. She couldn't let fear dictate their steps. They had to press on, to forge their own path despite the odds. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Clara felt a weight in her gut. They had shown up today, but would it be enough? As the families shared stories and laughter around her, she caught Zuri's eye, sparking an unbreakable thread of courage between them. Clara knew they had entered uncharted territory. The fight would only grow tougher, perhaps more personal than she could imagine, but through it all, one thought remained: how far could they go? What sacrifices would they need to make? Questions swirled like the falling leaves around them, and just as Clara found herself ready to express her fears, Zuri held her small hand tightly. What came next could change everything. As the twilight settled into a cool breeze, Clara felt the weight of uncertainty cling to her like a heavy cloak. Families began to drift away, the sound of laughter softening into the quiet of evening. Zuri's hand in hers was a small beacon of comfort, a reminder that they were not alone in this fight. Malik circled around them, gathering the last of their supplies, his youthful energy untouched by the gravity of the day. "Are you okay?" Malik's voice broke through her thoughts, concern etched on his face. Clara forced a smile, but it felt more like a mask. "Just thinking, Malik. Today was a good start, but how do we keep it going?" She watched as the last few families waved goodbye, a mix of pride and worry washing over her. The dark sky was filled with pinpricks of light, stars that felt simultaneously distant and close. It reminded her of the dreams they all shared, dreams for a better future. "What if we spread the message further?" Zuri chimed in, her voice filled with youthful enthusiasm. "What if we talked to schools, local businesses, even started a social media campaign?" Her idea ignited a flicker of hope within Clara. "That's brilliant, Zuri. We can use social media to boost our voices. We'll show everyone what we're about, what we want." Malik perked up, eyes sparkling. "We should make a video. People love videos." Excitement bubbled between them, pushing away the lingering doubts as they began to sketch out a plan for the coming days. Clara saw visions of their neighborhood coming together, united by a common purpose, and it filled her with renewed strength. As night deepened, they gathered their things and left the park, the weight of their mission pulsing through Clara's veins. But just when hope surged again, the startling image of the wealthy leader flashed in her mind. His patronizing laughter haunted her ear. Clara's resolve faltered for a moment. What if he tries to sabotage us? She bit her lip, concern threading through her voice. What if he makes it harder for us? Let him try, Malik replied, a fierce determination settling in his words. We're not afraid of him. We have each other. Zuri nodded vigorously. And the community. He might have money, but we have heart. Their words wrapped around her, squeezing out the doubts. They would rely on each other, dig deep, and stand firm. Clara took a breath, released it slowly, feeling the weight lift a little. Together, they could make it work. As they reached home, Clara felt the familiar hominess wash over her. The clutter of children's toys and art supplies greeted them, a chaotic but comforting chaos. It was here, amidst this clutter, that foundations could be built, dreams nurtured. Later that night, as Clara tucked Zuri and Malik into bed, she leaned over, brushing a stray curl from Zuri's forehead. I promise, we won't quit. They won't drown us out. Zuri smiled sleepily, squeezing her hand. Clara paused, staring into the eyes of her children, the flicker of hope igniting once more within her. What were they capable of? She could feel the tide shifting already, the swell of ideas and determination rising up. But deep inside, the lingering question remained, what would it take to truly transform their community? And what sacrifices would they have to confront head-on, to make this change stick? Before drifting off to sleep, Clara whispered a quiet prayer for guidance. The night felt alive with potential, and as the stars twinkled brightly outside, they seemed like promises waiting to be fulfilled. Little did she know that tomorrows would challenge them to the core tests of unity, resilience, and strength. Would they be able to withstand them? Tomorrow would not only reveal their resolve, it could change everything. The next morning woke with a glimmer of golden sunlight streaming through the window, painting the room in shades of hope. Clara stretched, feeling the weight of yesterday's thoughts still pressing on her chest. But as she prepared breakfast, the sound of Zuri and Malik bustling around the house brought a smile to her face. Mom! Can I help? Zuri's enthusiasm was infectious as she hopped on a chair to reach the countertop. Of course, but we have to be quick. Clara replied, her heart warming at Zuri's eagerness. We have a big day ahead. Malik joined Zuri at the counter, ready to chop fruit for their morning smoothies. What's on the agenda, Mom? He asked, a hint of mischief sparkling in his eyes. Clara whisked together the ingredients, her mind racing ahead to the meetings and discussions lined up for the day. We're going to visit the local schools and see how we can partner with them. Spread our message to the kids. Their eyes lit up, both children buzzing with energy, ready to take on whatever came next. After breakfast, they piled into their small car, the air thick with anticipation and a touch of anxiety. Zuri literally bounced in her seat, while Malik drummed his fingers on the dash as if it were a gymnastic floor routine. As they arrived at Jefferson Middle School, Clara took a deep breath. Let us remember why we're doing this, she murmured to herself before stepping out. The building loomed above them, a structure that was meant to uplift young minds but felt daunting all the same. Inside, the walls were decorated with colorful student projects, each piece sparking a little joy. Clara felt her nerves start to settle. Okay, kids, let us find the right teachers, she said, the familiar sense of purpose returning. They roamed the halls, discussing their ideas with teachers who listened attentively. Clara shared their vision of a community united, of spreading awareness and fostering empathy among the students. Word of their initiative quickly began to ripple through the school. But as Clara stood in front of a group of students, sharing her story and their mission, the door slid open. In walked the wealthy leader, the very face that haunted her dreams. His presence was like a cold breeze sweeping through the room, silencing the buzz. What is going on here? He asked, his voice dripping with skepticism as he surveyed Clara and the gathered teens. Clara felt sick to her stomach, her confidence rattled. This was the very voice she feared. But then she caught Malik's and Zuri's eyes and remembered their resolve. They had to keep going, no matter who was watching. Just sharing ideas, Clara replied, trying to push through the knot in her stomach. We want to make our community a better place. The leader chuckled, the sound dismissive. Good luck with that. You really think a few meetings and a social media post can change anything here? Anger ignited in Clara. It took everything she had not to lash out, to not let his condescending tone intimidate her. Instead, she strengthened her resolve. No, we know it won't be easy, she said, her voice steady. But we believe that every small effort counts. Together we can raise awareness that will spark change, and we won't be silenced. The room was silent, and for a moment, Clara could feel the weight of the leader's gaze on her. But then, one by one, the students began to nod their heads in agreement. Clara felt the energy shift in the room, a wave of support creeping in. Let us show him. Zuri shouted excitedly, her eyes shining with fierce determination. The room erupted into cheers. Clara's heart swelled as her children stood strong beside her, the fear replaced with a blazing drive for action that if this was the fight they had to face, then so be it. Tomorrow might be daunting, but today, they would push back against the doubt. As they left the school, Clara felt a mixture of adrenaline and hope. The leader's laughter echoed in her ears, but guilt and fear were not going to drown her out. They had a mission, and it was time to set it in motion, but the weight of the wealthy leader's disdain hung over them like dark clouds. Would this confrontation truly spur them on, or would it crush their fledgling hopes? Clara couldn't shake the uneasy feeling as they drove home, staring out into the rushing world beyond. It was far from over. This was just the beginning of their fight. What other challenges awaited them? The following morning came, heavy with anticipation. Clara stirred awake, caught between the remnants of her dreams and the urgency of the day ahead. She glanced at the clock. Time was fleeting. Zuri and Malik would be up soon, and they had more schools to visit. As she brewed coffee, she replayed yesterday's confrontation in her mind. The weight of the wealthy leader's words clung to her thoughts. Could they really make a difference? She hoped that she would find answers today. Mom, what's for breakfast? Malik's voice broke through her reverie. He shuffled into the kitchen, hair still tousled. How about pancakes? We need energy for our next stop. Clara replied, her voice full of determination. Zuri appeared seconds later, wild-eyed and eager. She practically bounced on the balls of her feet. Are we gonna talk to more kids today? Can I tell them about the poster I made? Zuri's excitement was contagious. Clara smiled, her heart lifting, remembering her own childhood passions. Of course. Your poster is amazing, sweetie. It will inspire them. After breakfast, they piled into the car again, their spirits buoyed by the promise of the day. Clara's resolve hardened with every turn of the wheels toward the next school. This time, they were headed to Lincoln High, where she hoped to connect with a larger audience. Upon arrival, they were greeted by the principal, a warm but busy man who swiftly ushered them to the gymnasium. The sound of students chattering echoed through the hall, sparking a familiar thrill in Clara's chest. This was her calling. As they entered the gym, Clara felt the buzz of energy. Students were engaged in various activities, and she took a deep breath, ready to share her vision once again. She spotted a small group sitting on the floor, a mixture of faces animated with curiosity. Hey everyone! I'm Clara, and this is my son Malik and my daughter Zuri. We're here to talk about how we can work together to improve our community, Clara began, her voice warm and inviting. Zuri waved her poster, and Malik flashed a winning smile. Clara's heart swelled. This was their moment. As she spoke, Clara noticed a few students whispering to each other. Concern washed over her. Were they mocking her? But before she could spiral into insecurity, one girl raised her hand. What do you mean by improving our community? She asked. The question seemed genuine. Clara's heart raced as she explained their aims to build empathy and understanding among students from different backgrounds. She felt the energy shift again, students nodding along, engaging in conversation. Hope surged through her veins. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she saw him, the wealthy leader, standing at the gym's entrance, arms crossed, a smug expression on his face. Her stomach twisted. Could he possibly be here to discourage them again? Ignoring the knot in her chest, Clara pressed on. Any effort we make can change the future for all of us, she asserted. The room reacted, students clapping, cheers erupting from the back rows, but then, he stepped forward, his voice slicing through the atmosphere. You really think you can change anything with empty words? Change only comes from power, and I have it. Panic surged as Clara felt the room's energy falter. But Zuri, ever bold, stepped toward him. You might have money, but we have heart. We're not afraid. The energy in the gym shifted again. Clara felt the tide turning, students rallying behind her children, their faces ignited with determination. This is our fight. We won't back down. Malik shouted, catching fire. Clara's heart raced. The moment felt electric. What she didn't expect was the roar of support that followed. Students stomped their feet, clapped, and expressed their passion. They were ready to stand together, but what was brewing inside Clara's heart was something more profound. Would this be enough to challenge the beliefs of a man who wielded power without conscience? As the rallying cries echoed through the gym, Clara realized this battle was far from over. A storm was brewing, and she was at the center of it. Would the strength of their youth and the fire within them be enough to face what lay ahead? The journey had just begun. Clara stood at the edge of that gymnasium, her heart racing in sync with the powerful voices rising around her. The students' chants seemed to shake the very walls, pouring life into what had once felt like a hopeless struggle. Suddenly, instead of the wealthy leader spreading doubt, he seemed small. His confidence deflated as the passion of the room surged like a tidal wave. Does anyone else want to join us? Clara called out, her voice cutting through the noise, a beacon of light in this crowded space. She beckoned, and students eagerly began to stand, one by one, their expressions a mixture of excitement and fierce determination. The small group on the floor grew larger, drawing more students in, and Clara felt invincible. Zuri's eyes sparkled as she looked around at their growing audience. We can make a difference. Together. She yelled, her tiny frame now radiating an energy far beyond her years. Yeah, together. Echoed Malik from Clara's side, his fists pumping in the air. Clara couldn't help but smile, pride swelling within her. Yet, amidst the exhilaration, Clara's thoughts flickered back to the confrontation with the leader. His words still rang in her ears. He had power. That was true. But did that mean he could snuff out their fire? Determined to reshape that narrative, Clara decided they needed a plan. Let us form groups. We can brainstorm ideas on how to take action. Real actions. She encouraged. Students surged forward, eager hands raised high in the air. Clara felt a rush. They were ready to work, and she had a glimpse of a strategy unfolding. As students broke into groups, Clara walked among them, listening to their ideas. Some proposed workshops, others suggested community events, all brimming with enthusiasm. Zuri, clutching her brightly colored poster, bubbled with excitement as she shared her thoughts. We can make a huge mural. Something that shows our dreams. She suggested, eyes wide with imagination. Absolutely. A mural that represents our hopes. Our identities. Clara exclaimed, her heart swelling even more. This was the community connection she had wanted to ignite. Real change blossomed from these sincere, grassroots ideas, flowing naturally from the hearts of the youth around her. But just as hope filled the air, the wealthy leader stepped forward again, interrupting with a scoffing voice. What, you think some paint and dreams will change anything? You'll need money, resources, real support. A hush fell over the gym. Clara felt a prickling fear. Was he right? Could their dreams face the cold reality of funding and resources? For a moment, doubt crept in. The enthusiasm from before waned as his thick presence loomed over them, but then Malik stepped in, behind Zuri, resolute. "We don't need your money. We have each other. And our voice," he said defiantly. The other students started to murmur in agreement. Clara felt the tension rise again, her heart pounding, but this time, it was with renewed courage. "Let us show him how powerful we can be," she shouted, words bursting forth with passion. The gym erupted in a chorus of agreement, voices melding into one coherent message echoing Clara's inner drive. They were a force to be reckoned with. As the energy shifted back into excitement, Clara glanced around, absorbing the scene, the faces of bright young hearts ready to stand tall. But deep within, a question lingered: could they truly sustain this energy to challenge the unyielding presence of power? Determined to find a solution, Clara called the groups back together, ready to strategize on a bold initiative. They would need to rally their support, gather their resources, and not back down, but just then, Clara noticed the door swing open. A new figure stepped through, someone she hadn't expected. Her mind reeled as she internally questioned, could this be the ally they so desperately needed? Would it be enough to tip the scale in their favor? The fight was just beginning, and the stakes higher than ever. Clara braced herself for the storm that was about to unfold. Clara's heart thudded loudly as the door creaked open, a mix of hope and anxiety swirling within her. In stepped Ava, the spirited girl from the soccer team. Clara had never thought much about Ava beyond the friendly rivalry on the field. But now, she radiated an unexpected energy, her eyes gleaming with determination. "Clara!" Ava shouted, weaving through the crowd with purpose. The gym buzzed with surprise, but the chatter quickly faded as all eyes fell on the newcomer. "I came as soon as I heard. There's a big meeting happening tonight at the district office. You need to be there." "What?" Clara blinked, trying to process the information. The district meeting? That was where they would be discussing funding for community initiatives. That could be their chance. Malik took a step forward, his brows furrowed. "What are we waiting for, then? We've got to go." Ava nodded eagerly. "Yes. If we can present our mural project there, we might just catch their attention. They'll see that we're serious about this." Clara felt a flame of inspiration ignite within her, fanning the embers of uncertainty. "You're right. We've gotta act fast and show them we believe in ourselves." The adrenaline surged as the chatter began to pick up once more, the last remnants of doubt dissipating. Zuri jumped up, her curls bouncing excitedly. "What about our sketches and designs? We could show them what the mural will look like." "Yes. Bring everything, make them feel our energy." Clara encouraged, feeling the weight of urgency settle over her. "Who can help gather materials? We need markers, poster boards, and anything else we can grab." As names flew around, Clara felt invigorated. They were a team, ready to take on the world together. But beneath that optimism, a dread began to unfold like a storm cloud in her heart. The wealthy leader would be there too. Would the support of her friends be enough to withstand the piercing critiques she knew awaited her? Once everyone around her was mobilized with a sense of purpose, Clara took a breath, her pulse quickening. "Let us meet back here in 1 hour. We can practice our pitch and rehearse what we're going to say. We need to be ready." A chorus of cheers erupted, lifting Clara higher, but the shadow of the wealthy leader lingered in her mind. She pushed it aside, shoving the fear into the back of her consciousness. The vibe was electric, the atmosphere now buzzing with potential. As Clara turned to help Zuri with her designs, she couldn't help but steal a glance at Ava, who was deep in conversation with Malik. Clara marveled at how quickly things had changed just moments ago. They were daring to dream in that gym, and now they were about to turn those dreams into action. But then, just as suddenly as hope filled the air, her phone buzzed in her pocket, and Clara's heart sank as she saw the message from her mother. It was a reminder about dinner. The weight of responsibilities and family obligations tugged at her heart, dulling the passion that had ignited moments earlier. Would her family understand? Would her mother support this fight she was about to charge into? Clara? Zuri's voice broke through her thoughts, concern etched on her face. Are you okay? Yeah. Clara replied a bit too quickly, forcing a smile. I'm ready. We just need to focus now. But as she tried to ride the wave of encouragement, Clara felt the gnawing question linger deep inside her: how could she balance everything? The looming meeting felt like a massive wave ready to crash down on their efforts, and she couldn't shake the fear of losing everything she had worked so hard to build. The clock was ticking. Clara's heart raced again, not just with excitement, but with an urgency fueled by doubt. Would they have what it takes? Would they really be heard? She clenched her fists around Zuri's drawings, signaling the determination to push forward, but uncertainty gnawed away at her. Just then, the gym doors swung open yet again, and to Clara's shock, another familiar face walked in, a friend from her childhood, now seemingly miles away in ambition and purpose. What did they want? Would they come to support, or to tear her down? Clara. The voice rang out, pulling Clara from her tangled thoughts. She turned to see Jamie, eyes full of unexpected excitement, and her heart sank again. What were they bringing to her door now? The moment teetered on a knife's edge, the air charged with tension and possibilities. Would this be another hurdle to overcome, or the lifeline she'd been seeking? Clara braced herself as the door rapped shut behind Jamie, both nervous and anxious for what lay ahead. Clara felt the air shift as Jamie approached, her lips curling into a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. This was the girl Clara once shared laughter and secrets with, now standing before her like a stranger. I heard the news about the mural project. Can I help? Help? Clara repeated cautiously, searching Jamie's face for sincerity. Was this the same girl who had chosen the path to success at the expense of their friendship, or had Jamie really come back to lend a hand? Yeah. I thought I could share some ideas, or even I could help you pitch. Jamie's enthusiasm was palpable, but Clara couldn't ignore the flicker of hesitation in her gut. Are you sure? Clara asked, aware that Ava and Malik were watching, their interest piqued by the unexpected turn. I mean, you've been pretty busy with your own projects. Jamie waved her hand dismissively. Don't worry about that. I'd love to jump in. We used to dream together, right? Let us do this. Clara forced a smile, grateful for the support but unsure if she could trust it. Before she could dwell on her thoughts, Malik stepped in. Okay, so if Jamie's on board, let us make sure to tap into everyone's strengths. With renewed energy, Clara and her friends began organizing. They gathered sketches, bright color palettes, and materials, channeling their collective excitement into something tangible. But even as laughter spilled out and ideas flowed, Clara couldn't shake the unease that settled over her like a thick fog. Jamie's unexpected appearance lingered in the air, a mixture of hope and anxiety. Clara, what do you think about using a mural to tell our story? Zuri suggested, her brow furrowing. What we've gone through, our dreams, our challenges. It could inspire people. Definitely, Clara replied, heart racing at the thought. Her vision grew clearer, a mural depicting unity, resilience, and a celebration of community. Yet still, the voice of doubt whispered, suggesting that no one would understand the depth of their struggle, or that they would be dismissed by the crowd. Let us practice our pitch. Ava urged, clapping her hands to bring everyone's focus back. The group huddled together, bouncing ideas off one another, as Clara's pulse quickened with a mix of anticipation and fear. As they rehearsed, Clara's mind repeatedly drifted to her family obligations. Memories of dinner tables filled with laughter and her mother's unwavering support weighed heavily on her heart. Would she have to explain her absence? Would her mother worry? Just as she attempted to focus, the clock's hands continued to creep forward, edging closer to the meeting. Remember, confidence is key. Malik said, beaming encouragement. They'll resonate with our message if we believe it ourselves. Clara nodded, trying to harness the fire within her, even as her breath caught in her throat. She glanced at Jamie, who looked deep in concentration, but Clara remembered the doubts that had built a wall between them over the years. Was this pure support, or was she still holding on to old patterns? With one last glance at Zuri and Ava, Clara made a decision. "Let us go show them what we've created," she said, a steel edge creeping into her voice. As they all gathered their materials and made their way to the exit, Clara felt her heart hammering against her ribcage, every footstep a clash between hope and fear. They reached the doors just as the sun set, illuminating the sky in shades of orange and pink, a vibrant reminder of possibility and change. But as they stepped outside, a sudden shout echoed from behind them. "Hey, wait!" Clara turned to find Jamie breathing hard, her hands on her knees, clearly winded. I want to say one more thing. You guys don't know what this means to me. I want to fight with you. Just don't forget what we had, okay?" The tension hung thick in the air, the unexpected request hung like a question mark in Clara's mind. Would she trust Jamie again? Should she let their past define her? As they stood at the cusp of their next big step, Clara realized that what was meant to unfold could change everything if they could just let go of the past and forge ahead together. But what would happen if they couldn't? Would Clara be strong enough to face the truth that lay ahead? The meeting at the district office felt like stepping into the lion's den. Clara stood with her kids and friends, peering into the sunlit room filled with community leaders and policymakers. The air thrummed with tension, but Clara took a deep breath, grounding herself in the purpose that had brought them here. She couldn't turn back now. As the minutes passed, Clara felt the weight of 1,000 eyes on them. Malik and Zuri stood slightly behind her, their faces a mixture of hope and anxiety. Ava adjusted the sketches in her hands, while Jamie quietly huddled with them, something unspoken brewing in her expression. "Are you ready?" Clara asked softly, glancing at each of them. They nodded, determination lighting up their faces like fireworks. The seats around the table filled up, and Clara's heart raced. Voices buzzed with uncertainty, but as she watched the room fill, her thoughts turned to her community. They had fought for this moment. They deserved to be heard. Finally, Clara stood when the moderator called them forward. Her voice shook, but she pushed through. "Good evening, everyone. My name is Clara, and I'm here with my children, Malik and Zuri, along with friends from our community." She looked across the table, locking eyes with some educators who had supported her. "We come bearing our dreams, a mural that reflects our stories, our struggles, and our hopes for the future." As she spoke, Clara felt her voice grow stronger, buoyed by the passion that had ignited in the gym just days before. "This mural will serve as a canvas of connection. It will symbolize our unity and resilience as we fight for the school that our children deserve, the stake they have in our futures." She could see heads nodding, some of the board members leaning in, intrigued, but then, the wealthy leader's voice sliced through. "What does this mural matter? It's just paint. What we need is more than art, we need funds and proper management, not naive ideals." Clara took a deep breath, feeling the tension rise. Art is power. It sparks conversation and change. It gives our children a voice that can resonate outside these walls. Our community isn't lacking in dreams, we are lacking the support to transform them into reality. She felt the energy shift around the table and caught Malik giving her an encouraging nod. Zuri's eyes gleamed with pride, reminding her why this was worth fighting for. "Without our voices, we'll be lost in the noise of those who want to dismiss us. Our dreams matter." A wave of murmurs rippled through the audience. Clara's heartbeat quickened further, but she stood firm, ready to face whatever challenge was coming their way. "We're not just asking for money, we're inviting you to become part of something beautiful. Investing in our mural means investing in our children's future." A woman from the committee spoke up. "What if we consider a partnership with local organizations to gather resources? Maybe there's a way to blend community support with practical funding mechanisms." Hope surged through Clara. This could be a bridge to transforming her dreams into reality. As discussions and ideas bounced around the table, Clara soon became consumed by the flow of possibilities, the partnerships they could forge, the initiatives they could create together. For the first time, she felt the current change in their favor. The shadows of doubt began to lift, replaced by an electric feeling of momentum. Then, Jamie stood up, surprising everyone. "I want to share the designs we've created together. They represent not only our dreams but the voices of those who fought tirelessly to be seen." A collective intake of breath filled the room as Jamie unveiled the sketches, vibrant colors bursting with promise. Even the wealthy leader's expression shifted, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his features. As Clara's heart soared, she later glanced at the audience who were absorbing the possibilities laid out before them. She felt a deep comfort. This was not just her fight, it was all of theirs. The meeting wrapped up with a promise to explore funding alongside community initiatives. As they exited, Clara felt lighter, the burden slowly dissipating. "Mom, did you see their faces?" Malik exclaimed, a grin stretching ear to ear. Zuri chimed in, "We did it." They listened. Clara pulled her children close, tears brimming in her eyes. "We stood together. We made an impact." In that moment, she realized this fight was never just about a school or a mural, it was about family, community, and the connection that transcended every hurdle in their way. They had ignited something powerful, and this was just the beginning. As they stepped into the open air, Clara felt the warmth of the sun on her skin and knew this journey would forever change them. Together, they could spark change, paint their own futures, and transform their community. And as they walked, Clara couldn't ignore an undeniable truth: the real power belonged to those who dared to dream and act together. The fight, the sacrifices, they would face whatever came next, head on. This was their moment. Join Clara's journey of love, hope, and transformation. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show some love. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending down below. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.